We are here with Aron North, CMO of Mint Mobile, as part of our Backstage video interview series. We're going to be talking about some of the questions and challenges and trends that keep you up at night. Thank you so much for being here, Aron.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Of course. All right, let's dive right in. CMO tenure. It's a big topic in this industry. Latest research numbers that I've been seeing, between 25 months and 40 months at this point. It's the lowest it's been in a decade and continues to shrink. What's going on, and how can we set CMOs up for more success in this business?
It's a great question, and I think it's probably appropriate that some people are getting pushed out of these jobs. Look, the way CMOs are successful, in my opinion, is through accountability. It all starts with accountability. And what I have seen in my history, 20 years in the space, is that you have CMOs who don't carry that level of accountability to the business or to their teams, to the brands, the agency, what have you. What you're seeing now going forward is that the CMOs who have staying power are the CMOs who have relationships with CFOs and CEOs and have a high degree of accountability for both sales overnight and brand over time. And we know as marketers, you cannot keep the second part of that equation absent. If you're not cultivating and growing your brand, you are going to suffer in the long run. But you have to have an accountability to the business on a daily basis. So I think the challenge for CMOs today is to make sure that they are holding themselves accountable to the business for the pieces they control, and then appropriately managing that conversation and that performance conversation with their leadership team and their peers.
So that actually is a great segue to the next question I want to talk to you about, which is managing up. And that's something that's resurged within my conversations with the community, first through when we had to market through the pandemic, and now we're marketing through potentially uncertain economic times. And those conversations between the CMO and the CEO, the board, obviously you're in a unique position at Mint Mobile with, to whom you answer, but those conversations become so much more important when you're talking about the times that we're in, and making sure that people who aren't necessarily marketers themselves understand marketers are profit drivers, not cost centers, right? So do you have any thoughts or advice on how to manage those conversations and really demonstrate and show the impact of what you're doing?
Absolutely. So first off, the times are not uncertain. I am certain we are going to enter a recession next year, right? What type of recession and how long it lasts is maybe up for debate, but it's coming. You could see it now. I mean, today on my way here, I got 3 notifications that big multi-billion-dollar companies are laying off 10%, 5%, 8% of their workforce. It's coming. The challenge, or the opportunity, I should say, when you're working as a CMO and you have this accountability up, you have to have a partnership with your CFO and your CEO. CFO typically has the ear of the CEO. It is the person who has the money, right? Like, you have to go there. They're also the ones who may dole out the budgets, but your CEO is driving that. In my instance, our CEO, David Glickman, and our CFO, Rizwan, are founders of the company. They did not believe in brand when I started. I've actually had the opportunity to share with them how we build a consumer brand over the last 6 years with Mint. And they're both big believers now. And the reason for that is that, I think a large piece of that is because I have taken a high degree of accountability. I am the first person to raise my hand and say, this didn't work. Here's why. We were a Super Bowl advertiser when we were a baby brand, high risk. Now, in order to execute a program like that, what I had to do was have a conversation with both the CEO and the CFO and say, if this fails, if we're about to spend $5.5 million on 30 seconds of airtime and it doesn't do what we want, here's how we get the business back on track. Now, fortunately for us, it worked and our business grew, but I already had a plan and I had said, if this doesn't work, I know how to get us there. Now, I'm using I as a collective we. It's not just me by myself, but when it comes to failure is an orphan, success has many fathers. I adopt failure. I love failure. We've spoken before. If you've ever heard me speak, I talk about failure all the time. Failure is an essential piece of your business. If you're not failing, you're not learning and you're not pushing the envelope. But without accountability, you're just making mistakes. So what we do is we fail fast, we fail smart, we fail forward, we learn, and we typically do those on a small scale. You build credibility with that. Once you've built credibility and you have accountability to the number, you no longer have an adversarial relationship with your leadership team. And we're peers. We're solving this together. It's not that the CEO doesn't want to spend money in marketing or the CFO doesn't want to spend money. They want to make sure we're growing healthy. What we've done is we've come to an understanding on how our business works, what the dynamics of the business are, and because we have high accountability, we're able to have conversations about where we want to go. And I think that's what you need to do as a CMO to go forward. You need to build those relationships, have them in place, so when you have a bet that needs to be made, you don't have to go resell everything from square one. You have history. You can explain things in parallels, comparisons. We've done this before. We want to take a different turn to it. If this doesn't work, we have a plan B, things like that. I think that's really a key piece of success for us, is that relationship and just a willingness to raise your hand and say, that's my fault, that's a mistake, and it's mine. We know how to fix it though. That's what we're going to do next.
I think to your point, it's all about, right, the relationships, the bridges that you build, but also embracing the failure, right? It's easy to say marketing's always working. It's always, because it's esoteric, it's vague. Yeah, the brand is building. You can't always put the numbers behind it, but to be forthright and say, no, this failed and we're going to do this differently next time may help to cultivate those relationships and earn that credibility. So I love it. It's fantastic. Thank you so much. But you did mention, right, that you said but you really mean we. So let's talk about that for a second, because arguably the most important job that a CMO has is building their own team and building that talent base, the department leaders, the discipline leaders, the subject matter experts. And within our landscape, within our industry, there's something new to account for every day. A new technology, a new tool, a new app, a new platform, a new this, a new that. How do you make sure that you have the best marketing organization, that you're finding the right people? What is your approach to building that team?
Well, so Mint's only 6 years old. And when I got to the company, there were 9 people in the marketing department. One of them is left, right? It's not that they were bad people. They weren't classic marketers. So as we've built this department to now 125 people, a couple of things. One, I interview every single person who's coming into the marketing department, period. Every single person. I want to be the last line of quality control on individuals we bring in. I rarely interview for technical acumen. These people are brilliant at their fields. I'm not brilliant in that field, but I know enough to make me dangerous, and I really want to get a sense for how people think, how they behave, and what kind of a vibe are they going to bring to the team? Because we've all been on teams that have one rotten person and it ruins the dynamic. I've got to give credit where credit is due. Dave Ryan, when I worked at Ryan Partnership, used to say this all the time. FBNA, free beer, no assholes. And what that means is that we were an agency. So when you're at an agency, you work hard. You work incredibly hard. There will always be rewards for hard work in the fridge. Dave was a beer drinker, so we'll always have free beer. Also, we're an agency and everybody's working against us. We have procurement. We have other people after our business. We have this, that, the other, people fighting for territory. The last thing I'm going to do is put an asshole on your team, so no assholes. So we have been hiring sort of like with this FBNA mantra for many, many years. And that extra layer of quality control, I think, has really led to special talent we've found. And I'm so proud of this team. Like, I trust everyone on my team with the business. I mean, we've hired so many great folks. And I think part of that too is knowing where your limit is. I've raised my hand, I think 3 times now, saying, this business has grown to a point where I can no longer manage this piece. If we want to continue exponential growth, if we want the business to continue skyrocketing, we need an expert in this field. It sounds crazy to say that, to go to your boss, mine's the CEO, right? And say, David, we're running out of runway here for me. I need help. Now, that is actually cascaded throughout our organization where other people, as the company continues to grow, are saying, we're reaching my limits, let's bring in an SME here. And that SME helps grow the business because we hire under the guise of, we want the best talent driving this business forward. And it's been really fantastic to have like those three pieces, I think is key to building a strong, strong team.
It's fantastic. Yeah, I love FBNA, right? Work hard, play hard, right? Also, right? Like if you're going to put it in, but and then enjoy and be proud of that work and celebrate it, but you got to be the right kind of team member. So,
absolutely.
I love it. So let's transition now to the lightning round a little bit. Lots of fun topics that we're talking about with the community. It's 2023, it's January. We're a few days removed from New Year's. Everybody's talking about their plan for the year and the different trends they're seeing. Are there any trends that are top of mind for you as you're thinking about your plan for the year?
Value. I don't know if value ever goes out of fashion, but it certainly becomes more in vogue when economic hardship hits the country. We see value as a massive piece of our plan in 23, and I'm going to guess probably mostly 24 as well.
Thank you. All right, and let's flip that on its head. Challenges. What keeps you up at night as a marketer? And it doesn't necessarily have to be specific to, it could be specific to your work and your business, but as an industry in general, what should we be thinking about or what challenges should we be thinking about addressing?
Ease and access. I think no matter if you're selling like me, wireless service, or if you're at McDonald's selling burgers, having the ability to make your product easier to access is only going to do you solids, right? You need to be able to make things more accessible and easier. If you look at the way just the United States marketplace is moving, everything is moving into ease. You can order. I was here in Vegas waiting in line to go get a coffee. Right next to the sign of this line of 40 people is a sign that says, download our app. You don't need to wait in line. You can go get a seat. It's all about ease, right? And you want to give your customers optionality in that ease. But for me, a big challenge this next year and something we're going to relentlessly focus on is ease. And by ease, I mean accessing our brand and our service easily.
You want to remove all barriers, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Remove all the obstacles. I love it. All right, so let's go to the buzzword bingo portion. You can't go 2 feet at CES here in Vegas right now without hearing about two things, the metaverse and AI. So let's start with the metaverse. Hottest topic over the last year, lots of experimentation. I'd love your thoughts on, do brands play in the metaverse? What role does it play, if any, now in the future?
I have a wildly unpopular view here. I lump metaverse with NFTs and crypto. It all feels like a scam to me right now. And I know that's unpopular. And I know some people are probably rolling their eyes when they see this, but I just don't feel like the metaverse has landed properly for brands yet. Yes, some brands will go there and have major success, but you have companies carving out territory. You don't have cross-platform solutions. We're not there yet in my mind. The metaverse needs time to mature before I will want to enter there. And AI is exciting. You can have all kinds of simple AI. Mint has had AI working behind the scenes for years. We do it in a way where it benefits the customer. We analyze, or AI analyzes your consumption of our service, and we make a recommendation for you to save money. That's an AI to the benefit of the customer. I think if you are looking at these technology solutions and looking for them to enhance the customer experience, you're going to win. If you're looking at them to cut cost and maybe solve for problems they're not built for, you're going to struggle. But that is what you see with almost all new technologies when they come out.
I love that. So it's a fascinating application of AI, right? If you can use it to actually make things better for your customer, it's a win-win.
Right. I agree.
Well, thank you so much for being here and for sharing with me and our community. It's been a pleasure having you.
Love it.
All right. Thank you so much.
Good to see you.